So in the previous video, we turned a very basic and rough taper by rotating the head of the machine. If you're going to be doing tapers frequently, or if you want perhaps a way to get a little bit easier accuracy, then Sherline makes an optional accessory as a compound slide, part number 1270. I believe if you get package C with the lathe that this comes with it. So in the box are just directions. We just have a single piece of paper for directions. And then the compound itself. So let's take a little bit closer look at this before we mount it. There are two lockdown screws, one on either side in the center. These screws are for the gib. This half will come off entirely. We do have 4 T-nuts and screws to secure it to the bed. Now we get another hex key in case we didn't have enough before. Something we will need to get that's not included with the unit is a 1/4 inch right-hand cutter is what I'm showing here. And then I'm just showing the high-speed steel. If you want to use a carbide insert cutter or carbide brazed cutter, you're certainly welcome to do that as well. We'll start some cuts just with the high-speed steel. Now on a full-size machine, the tool post will mount on top of the compound. In this case, because of the low swing, that's not capable on the Sherline. So the tool post is integrated into the compound as part of it. It's also designed to be used on the back of the lathe, which means we have to use our tooling upside down. And we can mount that tooling on either side or across the face, depending on the exact operation that we're wanting to do. So let's go ahead and put this onto the machine. So as I was putting it on, I did run into another Sherline T-nut that won't fit the Sherline slides. I think this is my 3rd nut or so that won't actually fit. I'm a little disappointed in this from Sherline. It's a really simple part. I'm not sure why I've had so many that won't fit. I believe this one's, the base is a little bit too thick. So that'll be an easy fix for us. But for now, I've just thrown 3 screws in. I'm not going to be doing any heavy cuts with it, so not that big of a deal. Now to line it up, you can simply do by feel on the front edge. So align the front edge to the front of the table. There's a little bit of wiggle room. So if you want to go more precise and use the degree scale more accurately, then you'd line up your workpiece along this edge of the compound. Now both, as you can see, we can use have multiple tools on at the same time. It's a little short. I believe this slide is 6 inches long. Yeah, so this slide is 6 inches long, is the standard slide. They now also make an 8-inch long slide that's a little bit thicker as well. I don't know what the cost is on that part number. It's not been available for very long either. But for now, we should be fine. But if you're going to be doing these type of operations frequently, or if you're certainly using CNC, then having that longer bed will give you the ability to have a lot more space and safety between your different tooling. So I'm just going to mount the tool across the front for now. And I'm going to back the ram up. So this is, you basically get another axis of movement with the compound, which is useful for more than just cutting angles. That you can actually do very, very, very fine light cuts with this that you wouldn't be able to do by moving, say, your x-axis. If we take a closer look here at the scale, we'll see that we've got 2-degree increments that we can adjust it in that are, looks like they're laser etched into the plate. So I'm going to set it for, say, 6 degrees. Tighten it down on both sides. So this is a little unusual in that we are going to be cutting upside down from the back side. Because the rotation of the machine is in this direction, if we were to have that cutter right side up, it wouldn't do anything but rub. So make sure we can clear. So we're going to use the ram to forward our cutter to cut the angle, or the taper. And then we're going to use our x-axis to set our depth of cut. I won't actually be starting the cut at the very edge of the workpiece here. We're going to start by cutting off here in the middle. So I put some Sharpie on there so you'll be able to see the cuts a little better. Now all your axes will be kind of backwards from the way you're normally turning them. I should say your x-axis. Just going to do a 5/1000 on this pass. So here we'll do a 10/1000 cut with the high-speed steel cutter. I'm just going to do about a 3/1000 finishing pass. One thing, if you've got the ability to, would be to lock your Z-axis, particularly if you're doing heavier cuts. If the Z-axis is loose, or if your gib slides really nice and smooth, and you don't have any CNC motors on there to add resistance, then as you push into this cut, you could simply be pushing the saddle back towards the tailstock. So there's another way. That's still a pretty rough cut. We'd have to probably turn up the RPM. As I've mentioned before, aluminum really likes to be cut at higher speeds to get a fine finish. But that's the basics of using the compound. So I just did a facing cut with the compound to see how well the tool height was set. And there's very, very, very small nub there, not much at all. Now you might have a problem when you go to other tooling, particularly any carbide inserts, where the insert might be set up slightly higher than the top face of the tool. We'll give those type of things a shot here in a few more videos. So there you have the basics of using the compound. Another way that you can mount this is if you're trying to work very close up to the chuck, you can overhang it to where you only use these two back T-nuts in the front T-slot. Now that's obviously going to create a little more jitter, so you'd have to take lighter cuts. And then there are a few modifications out there for using this on the front of the slide if you so wish. It pretty much means you make a custom tool holder that will fit in this slot and lower the bit down so that the height will be proper for it.